been in the medical industry, no one likes to see, a pandemic like COVID-19 happen, but there has been a lot of sort of benefits for businesses who have got that technological sort of aspect to it and the adoption that needs to come from the wider community. Have you really seen like COVID-19 being a real game changer for your business?
Look, COVID-19's as you point out, it's a bit of a two-edged sword. There are some real benefits, and shone a light on telehealth dramatically, and so we've seen adoption of telehealth globally. Shine a light on respiratory disease as well and infectious disease. Areas of health that are, I guess, not as sexy as cancer and some of those areas. So it's refocused, and you can see the amount of work that the pharmaceutical companies have put on vaccine development in such a short amount of time. Spotlighting areas of health when things like this happen are really important to get those areas moving forward. But again, it is a global pandemic. Slowdown in business globally, difficulty with travel, difficulty with people working from home. So it is a balance, I would say. For the respiratory space and for telehealth, it's been it has had a positive effect on those areas, and we'll see technologies that are being developed now accelerate their way to market because of it. But there are also challenges associated with it, and there's the human factors as well.
Obviously, medicine, is sort of two sides of it. It deals with very sort of the latest science and technological advancements, but from a clinical sort of perspective, especially some physicians, there's a very traditional outlook of the way they do things. Yep. Has that sort of been a factor that's played in, just trying to convince people who have been in the medical profession for a long time, who have done things a certain way, that this might be an actually better, more efficient alternative that may actually benefit the patient?
Yeah, so look, I think that's a really important question and a really important consideration when building a medical device, right? I mean, you need to make sure that you're building something that's going to help the clinician make a better decision, and that they're going to trust that your device is helping them make a better decision. So we've spent a long time doing clinical studies, doing large clinical studies here in Australia and in the US, those results are now being published in peer-reviewed journals. So it's really about building that knowledge base in the clinical community about what we're doing and demonstrating that what we're doing is accurate and safe and effective. So that's a really important part of our business is building that credibility. I think what we saw initially was, or what the main reason we founded the company when we did was, in the telehealth setting, we're not trying to replace an existing technology, right? I mean, in telehealth, you don't have that stethoscope, you don't have that chest X-ray. So for us, there was a unique opportunity in that we're not saying, hey, we're better than a chest X-ray, or hey, we're better than a CT scan. What we're saying is, at the moment, all you have is your video consultation and asking your patients about their symptoms. What happens if you add an additional tool to your toolkit? How much more information can you get from that? And that to us was a really important step as well.
Gotcha. And does that mean sort of, I suppose, as you look to expand, that's a really important part of the business model, isn't it? Working with each country's jurisdiction and the medical authorities in that country, because obviously every country has its own and their own systems, and the different people who need to be convinced I suppose you have a real strategic approach to that.
Yeah, exactly. So, for Australia, we've worked, our initial clinical studies were done here in Australia. We've gone through the TGA process, which regulates medical devices here in Australia. In the UK, we brought on someone in the UK to work with us in the UK a few months ago. We've got clinical studies set to kick off at major teaching hospitals in London and around and in the UK, similarly in Germany. So it's all about building that, I guess, that validation, both internationally, but also locally, getting key opinion leaders, getting key clinicians to believe in the technology, to understand how it works and build that credibility.